we were just talking about people. A lot of people just assume that in order to build pyramids and a lot of those megalithic structures that you see in the ancient world, they had to have tens of thousands of slaves, and because they didn't have uh, modern technology, they were rolling them up ramps with logs. Totally stupid, right? Pyramid is perfectly aligned north south with the accuracy of a laser, more accurate than what they can do now, right? And that's a million blocks. Them things are many, many tons a piece, some of them up to 40 tons. You can't tell me that a bunch of slaves that are not even architects rolled that up a log and put it in the proper place exactly where it's supposed to be. It makes no sense, right?
Don't even be trying.
Exactly. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That makes no sense. Whoever built that stuff, they did it because they loved it. They wanted to do it, and they wanted to do it properly. That's what I think, right? And
Those pyramids are there's exact to the stars and stuff.
that's what I'm saying. You can't do that by whipping somebody and making them do it. Like, get that stone. That's not gonna. That doesn't work. All right. The interpretation of history keeps being adjusted by remembering of the past, appreciate the diversity of cultures, evaluate the local, national, and global impact of individuals, groups, and institutions. Yeah, of course, the interpretation of it keeps being adjusted because more information is coming out. All right. That's like we were talking. Obviously, this is called Serpent in the Wilderness, right? Y'all ever heard that?
The what it is a cobra.
But it's called the Uraeus, right? This is the Uraeus, right? This is symbolic of an illuminated pineal gland, right? And we'll see some more. We'll see some more pictures of what this looks like in different places, all right? So when the pharaoh, they used to have this that cobra coming out because some people say when the aura is illuminated, it looks like a hood over the person, right? All right, and then that's why they use the cobra because the cobra is the risen serpent. When the cobra stands up, that hood comes out, right? Boom, all right. Okay, I want you all to get those notebooks, take 3 to 4 minutes, and list 3 characteristics of a serpent.
All right, where was I?
You're about to give us your thesis on snakes since you've been studying them for so long.
You said behaviors, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Most snakes are pretty. I wouldn't say docile. Most snakes are pretty calm natured. Most snakes do not like to, as far as humans go, most snakes don't like to attack humans. They only defend themselves. Snakes only eat when they have to, and a lot of them will not eat for a long while. Snakes.
Interesting.
There are 3 main families of snakes: constrictors, vipers, and elipids. There's some more, but those are the most popular ones. Constrictors are very slow. They're not as fast as vipers or elipids, and they're not too eager. Want me to keep going or stop?
Nah, man, boy, get your nerd on. Okay. I love
it. Snakes use their Jacobson's organ to sense their surroundings, and also use their Jacobson's organ also can they taste the vibration and the heat signals in the air. Mm-hmm. So when snakes are very good for sensing when weather changes because they can taste it in the air. We're just looking.
Okay, get the writing. Let's go. You're gonna need these terms. I want you all to do a lot of the heavy lifting in the translation of the text that we're about to get into. Moses, the lawgiver, like we said, he's the one that brought the 10 Commandments from Mount Sinai. He's also representative of discipline within the 5 sense realm, leading to spiritual attainment. He was, just to paraphrase again, he sensation. We are kind of addicted to that because that's the nature of living in the physical world, right? We want to eat stuff, we want to see nice things, we want to hear good stuff, we want to smell nice stuff, we want to touch nice stuff, all that, right? So, but once we are able to discipline ourselves to see what we need to see, to hear what we need to hear or hear beyond that, and also filter what we shouldn't be listening to, all right? Not to touch the things properly, right? And to eat properly. Once we discipline ourselves in the physical, then we get more. Let's go.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest, the priest Midian, and he led the flock to the priest Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb.
All right, 1 second. Based on what you all just wrote down, what do you think that means?
Kept the thoughts of Jethro, his father-in-law.
Who is Jethro? What does Jethro represent?
Jethro represents oh my God, bro.
Hey, let her finish. Let her finish. You next.
Preeminence, excellence, abundance.
Preeminence.
Preeminence.
Mm-hmm.
Preeminence, excellence, abundance, superior, superiority, Hebrew. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what's going on? Translate this. Or you want
Now
Harry?
Moses kept the thoughts of the Hebrew and his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
Not the Hebrew. It meaning Jethro in Hebrew means preeminence, etc. Right.
I have it.
Oh my God.
Harry was going because he wanted to say something. Is that all right, Maya? You done?
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead, Harry. And then keep in mind, we're talking about ourselves. All of these are faculties of ourselves, right? Heru, go
ahead. Jethro means abundance, superiority, preeminence, and excellence.
Preeminence.
Preeminence.
All right. Well, what does this verse mean when you put it all together? All right. So let me start you all off, right? So we can get an idea. After I do, you take a shot. Go ahead.
Okay. So I think it's saying Moses kept Jethro's abundance. And
what does Moses represent?
The lawgiver.
Christ. No.
The lawgiver, discipline within the 5 sense realm, and leading to the spiritual enlightenment.
Okay, now if we want to apply that to ourselves, this is our ability to have what?
Abundance. Discipline
in the 5 sense, discipline in the physical body, right? And we keep our thoughts of abundance and preeminence, right? We take them to the back of the desert, the desolation, right? And we came to the mountain of God, Horeb, which is where? What's Horeb mean?
Mountains of God rises from the desert.
Where is the mountain of God?
The mountain of God is
nice.
At the top, the root chakra.
The crown.
I mean,
the crown
chakra.
Right. Go ahead, Maya.
Now I forgot what I was at.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna repeat it and see if you come up with it again. All right. So Moses, in our own discipline, we take our thoughts of preeminence, abundance, right? All of these, basically, great ideas of how awesome we are, right? And then we go up to the mountain of God, but we have to be disciplined in how we master the physical. Right?
So is the 5th realm the 5th dimension? Are we in the 5th dimension, the physical?
This, first of all, he's in meditation. He's where did he go anywhere? Did he actually go anywhere to do this?
No.
No.
Yeah, not going nowhere. This is happening inside of him. You can be anywhere and do this, right? In your meditation. So he's keeping discipline in his meditation. He gathers his thoughts of greatness and he takes him to his crown, right? And then after he does that, because what does he do? There was a bush that was burning with fire. What is that?
Pineal
The,
gland?
the pineal. And then he got what? An angle of light came from the pineal, right? Out of the midst of the bush, and the pineal was lit up, but it wasn't what? It didn't burn up. So he's in meditation. He's taking all that awesome, all them awesome ideas and thoughts up to the crown, and he's like, yes. Read verse 6, please.
Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God.
Okay, all right. So now we already got into Abraham, and Jacob
Jacob
had the 12 sons. Jacob became Israel, and then you had the 12 tribes of Israel, right? The 12 sons of Jacob, each one is representative of a different zodiac sign, just like the 12 tribes of Israel is also each one is a different zodiac sign. And this shows that Israel, he had manifested the Christ energy, right, or consciousness, and because the 12 zodiac, those constellations are dependent. We read them according to where the sun is. They surround the sun, and the sun is the 13th, the Son of Man, right?
Huh.
What's up?
It's got a connection.
Go ahead.
Back to the snake thing. One of the snake's organs is the Jacobson's organ.
Wow.
And the Jacobson's organ is it's kind of like a pineal gland, but it's not necessarily. But it's like up there.
No, but it makes sense though, right? Because what he's sensing his environment based on something in that brain. That's probably his central brain, right? And that's the same. And in this meditation, he's in that central brain, in that pineal gland, right? But of course, in us, that's going to be a step higher than a snake, right? It's going to be a lot more sophisticated. But there is an analogy there, right? There's some simile there, right? Nobody care about Libra right now.
Yeah.
It's Aries season. Anyway, I'm just all right, but yeah. So we taken some of the more modern or contemporary, I should say, because we're not going to say it's more modern, like it's more sophisticated than what they had, because they knew all this already in a more real way, more tangible way, right? But this is from that book, Dark Light Consciousness. The extraordinarily, sensitive pineal gland, bathed in CSF, meaning cerebral spinal fluid, right? So that spinal fluid goes up, spine comes out into the brain, right, in the third ventricle, and it fills up the cavity, and the pineal gland is sitting there like happy, like.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right, and then that's one of the reasons why it's good to have good stuff in your body, right? It's constantly moving in the waves of this inner sea. It picks up the minutest vibrations that move through the body, the brain, and the brain core. Sounds like the Jacobson's organ, right? But in the human, it's like super duper attenuated to spirituality as well, right? These waves, which is energy, these waves and vibrations, like the waves and vibrations of information fields around us, carry energy and intelligence. Light is information, right? These waves are unfolded, and in some not fully understood way, are aspects of the unseen, curled up dimensions of the world. This exquisite sensitivity is largely why the pineal gland for ages has been experienced as the vibratory interface between the dense, localized body below and the more non-local body and dimensions above. So they're saying that the pineal is a physical organ, but it is, because of its sensitivity to light and vibration, it is the connection between the physical and the spiritual, right? All right. The pineal is an active, though lightly tethered endocrine gland. It floats in a sea of cerebral spinal fluid and runs on the ganglions and neurotransmitters. All right, let's watch this real quick. So now he's trying to use this paragraph to bridge the gap between our physical understanding of what light is and what it does, and that when it crosses over to that realm of spirituality, right? So where he says what is light and its subjective nature, that's opposed to objective. Objective meaning something that two or more people can observe and agree that it is what it is, right? When I turn this switch, the room is going to light up. We all know that, and we can all see it, right? But then subjectively, what does light mean? He says we see light during prayer and meditation, right? And that is that true? Can you see light when you close your eyes?
Yes.
Can you imagine light? Of course you can, right? And that is subjective to who? The subject, the person doing the observation, right? And based on your own spiritual attenuation, where you are consciously, you're going to be more sensitive or less sensitive. And remember, light is information, and everything around us is light. All right. So that's a big there's a lot to say in a little bit of paragraph, but go ahead, what'd you say? Oh, I thought you were about to say something, my bad. All right. I think I gotta stop so I can share the sound in this video. 1 second. Okay. Oh yeah, it's the burning bush scene from Prince of Egypt. Now all the stuff we just discussed, okay? I want you to watch this with that stuff in mind, because it's one thing to be watching it, when you're a kid, you watching the Prince of Egypt, you're like, oh, that's all right. It was about Moses and the Pharaoh and stuff. That was a nice story. He wanted it, but now I want you to watch it with a symbolic understanding of it, all right? And then pay attention, because I want to hear what you got to say about it. Scared to take a couple notes so you don't forget.
Oh, this is a cartoon. I thought this was a movie.
It's too early for this. Here I am. Take the sandals from your feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. Who are you? I am that I am. I don't understand. I am the God of your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
You are born of my mother, Yocheved. You are our brother.
What do you want with me? I have seen the oppression of my people in Egypt, and have heard their cry.
Stop it! Leave that man alone!
So I have come down to deliver them out of slavery and bring them to a good land. A land flowing with milk and honey. And so unto Pharaoh I shall send you. Me? Who am I to lead these people? They'll never believe me. They won't even listen. I shall teach you what to say.
Let my people go!
But I was their enemy. I was the prince of Egypt, the son of the man who slaughtered their children. You've chosen the wrong messenger. How can I even speak to these people?
Who made man's mouth? Who made the deaf, the mute, the seeing, or the blind? Did not I? Now go!
Moses, I shall be with you when you go to the king of Egypt. But Pharaoh will not listen. So I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders. Take the staff in your hand, Moses. With it, you shall do my wonders. I shall be with you, Moses.
What you saw, we want the interpretation. Right?
Oh, what I got was that his thoughts led him to the cave, and he found the burning bush, which was his higher consciousness. And when he found the burning bush, he unlocked it. He unlocked his higher consciousness with his staff. So when the burning bush was telling him what to do, but at first he didn't feel ready or worthy to accept his higher consciousness. And then he accepted it, and then that was the end of it.
Okay. Haru, what's up?
What's up with what feedback I have?
Yeah. So remember we are asking you about serpent, right? So the root word in serpent is what? Pent, right? What does it mean when something is pent up? Pent means
Keep
kept
it
in and
confined.
confined, right? Somebody said when you were talking about the desert, when your body is a desert, what's being confined? He have to come out of the desert and he went into the cave. He
Yeah,
came
he
out,
came.
you said he came out of the desert, he tended his flock, he went into the cave, right? What was pent up?
His mind.
Yeah, well, the sheep, right? He had to, and then like Zion said, one of the sheep led him to the cave. One of his own
Right.
thought forms was that point, it was high enough that it said, all right, let's go, Moses, let's go up here, right? And then the serpent is sense consciousness. It may be called desire and sensation, or the activity of life in an eternal expression. When the life is lifted to the realization that it is spirit, it becomes healing, right? So just like in the caduceus, those serpents are going up, right? And the caduceus is more of a physical thing. But once that energy does make its way up here, and each on the way getting there, and it's healthy, it's a spiritual energy. And then to repent, right? It's the change of mind. It's from the Greek metanoia, change of heart. It's a spiritual change of heart. Right? So it says change of mind, middle mind, transformation of the mind, change of thought and purpose. It's not just necessarily apologizing for something you did, right? It's to
You have to
take,
change your own mind
that's
state.
right. Yes. It's not an objective thing necessarily. It's objective and subjective. It's not about satisfying another person so that they
Is it
feel
like
you're
is it like
sorry for
reading
something. It's about taking your own mental and turning it into something that is a more spiritual. Go ahead.
um, in the beginning of class, it's just like an extra for me. Like in the beginning of class, you were saying like you don't read a book just to read it. You read to get information from it. And it kind of reminds me of this because it's like you're not saying sorry just to say sorry and to get it over. You're saying it because you're changing your mind about the whole entire thing.
That's right. All right. So when that energy is pent at the base, right? Sometimes it goes, my bad. Sometimes it goes up and it's sense conscious. It can go up into different places. But when it's not healthy, you wilding. It's erraticism, right? But then you have to repent, you reset, right? And then you start and spiritualize it. All right. All right. These are Buddhas. But what's this coming out of his head?
Serpents.
Looks like a snake.
I went
That's
to a
right.
museum and I saw these.
But these are but and a more accurate term would be what, Ahadu?
Serpent.
Serpents.
Serpent, right? And see at the base is coiled. This is
Mm-hmm.
where the energy is pent, right? It's pent up. It's potential. Potential is pent up, right? But then once he raises his consciousness, it emerges. It's like a hood, right? That's Godhood, right?
Mm.
So then he brings up this one is the crown, and you got the 6 on each side because how many chakras are there?
7.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? He rose just like Jesus. They said that Moses raised the serpent in the wilderness. The
I
wilderness.
wonder.
He took the animal body and raised it and spiritualized it by raising the serpent, right? And you can see it from the back here. It comes up over like this, right?
Yeah, everybody want to perceive the serpents as being a bad thing. They're really a good thing.
Well, that's because in different texts, people take that and turn it into make serpents like or snakes like there's some bad type of thing. Snakes travel on a sine wave as well. That's a harmonious wave found in nature, right? And you'll get into that when you get to high school. You start doing trigonometry and stuff, right? Moses and Aaron went onto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. So this is the story of when Moses. We ended up when Moses went to Pharaoh to confront him, right? And let me read this for you real quick. Moses was 80 years old. Aaron was 80. They spake unto Pharaoh. And remember, all these processes are going on inside of us. These are not 3 different people, right? These are 3 aspects of ourselves interacting with each other, right? And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. So that's like remember I was telling you about some of the stuff like when people are able to do certain things like tricks and they projecting energy and doing stuff like that. That's not cool, right? You don't have to do that, right? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Maya, because I was talking about that. It's like Pharaoh, that 5 senses trying to tempt the spiritual mind to say, well,
Oh,
let me
I get
see
what
what
you're
you
talking about.
let me see what you could do. Show me some tricks, right?
Yeah.
And then God, the Lord, right, said to Moses and Aaron, he said, well, you go tell Pharaoh, right? And you put your staff down, and it's going to turn into a serpent, right? That's good. And he said, oh, you want to see something? All right, I'm gonna put my staff down and I'm gonna raise up my energy, right? And I'm gonna shut you down. You see, if you raise the energy up, Pharaoh got to do what? He got to get out of there and go to his place. So then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments, for they cast down every man his rod and they became serpents. Now so we're gonna see what happened between Moses's serpent and Pharaoh's serpent. 1 second, let me make sure the sound is on. Okay, it's still on. So now before we play it, look at what's going on here. Look at everybody, all the Egyptians. Look at them, look at what they're dealing with, and look at how he looks. What's the difference?
They look very like into materialistic things. They got gold on and stuff, and he just looked like, I'm just out here trying to tell y'all something.
Yeah, basically, yeah. They wealthy. They on the podium. Right?
They're looking at him. They're looking at him like he's crazy. Like, what right do you think you have?
Yeah, who you
Especially-
think? Yeah, who you think you are?
And he
Right.
was kind of like, and he's related to them, so they like.
Or you think you about to come here and tell us what's going on? Right? You used to be with us, right? We raised you.
Switching up.
We raised you as a rich boy in the trappings of wealth and comfort, and you think you about to come here and tell us how we supposed to live, right? And it's again, of course, this is a conversation inside of the self. This is the material, the physical body trying to hold on to ego, right? To ego. We collecting a lot of these things a lot of times emanates from a sense of fear, right? Trying to acquire and acquire and acquire and acquire. That's not all the time, but a lot it emanates from fear, and that's a general thing, right? When the technology is on the inside, you're not going to need it as much on the outside, right? So let's go. And he got his staff, remember? His staff, and he holding it straight up. The spine is the chakras are in alignment, and his energy is raised up, and he's ready to do battle with his lower self.
Let my people go.
The slaves are mine. Their lives are mine. All that they own is mine. I do not know your God, nor will I let Israel go.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? Man shall be ruled by law, not by the will of other men.
Who is this God that I should let your people go?
Aaron, cast down my staff before Pharaoh, that he may see the power of God. In this you shall know that the Lord is God.
Mother! Mother! He turned his staff into a cobra!
Nothing of his will harm you, my son.
The power of your God is a cheap magician's trick. Janus.
Mother, look!
Janice, do you see?
Moses' serpent swallows up the others.
Ahadu, what was on the top of those staffs that the Egyptians had?
It's on my tongue. The wasp. Lost
Who,
it.
what,
The
go ahead. Who is that?
what you call it? It's
Set?
like a dog. Yeah. No, I think so.
Isn't that Set on the top of that staff?
I think so. Yeah.
And Set is what? The lower nature, right?
Uh-huh.
Set is the Osiris's brother who was hateful and vengeful and or Asar and jealous, right? It's the lower nature that and he had to be conquered by the Christ, Heru, right? So they threw that low consciousness at him, and he right. All right, you can share. Go ahead.
So to list what I see a man on some rocks and people bowing down to them. They look kind of scared or almost like some of them look like they are trying to get him off of there, and others just look, well, it kind of looks like they're all bowing down to him. What I feel like this means is that based on everything that I've just like read and seen, I feel like this means that that thing in his hand is kind of like telling them to like, I don't know, it's in my head, but I can't really describe it. He looks like he's conquering them almost, but it looks like by the way that he's doing it, it looks like he's telling them to almost back off, and they're like kind of saying they're sorry. So I feel like it means that I don't know what to say. I feel like this means that he is basically conquering his lower self, like how we talked about all throughout this time. But the way he's doing it is to where he's shown them so much proof almost that they're asking him to stop. I feel like I can apply this to my own life by when I know something is wrong or when I know that I don't need something, like we said earlier, you have like two different types of opinions. I know I do, like two different types of opinions telling you different things to do, but always go with the right one and conquer the lower one. That's how I would.
Very nice. I particularly appreciated the part where you said conquering the lower self. Anybody else?
And I think that we can apply this by centering our thoughts and tapping into our higher selves, taking care of the body / the temple, so that we can achieve higher consciousness and conquer our lower selves.
Very nice.